Then I would say the Neverfull MM, just because, okay guys, I know Neverfull is a bit boring, but hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Please subscribe to my channel. You can also join my membership below. With my membership, I do make one extra video a week for members only to have a look at. Yeah, check it out down below. The other day, I had the pleasure of meeting, this is Danny O in real life. Danny, who has a really amazing YouTube channel as well. She loves talking about handbags, and she only has 3 Chanel bags, and she finds that they're the only Chanel bags she really needs. I did have a suggestion in my comments the other day that I should make a video about having a core collection from each designer house. So what, like 3 or 4 bags are worth getting from each designer brand. Technically guys, you don't need to have like 20 bags. You can only have like 5 bags, or if you want to like focus on only one brand, maybe you can just buy a few bags from that one brand. I'm going to go through Chanel, Louis Vuitton and Hermes and just talk about like what are like the best bags you can get, and like basically the only 4 or 3 or 4 that you need. So Danny has a mini rectangle vintage flap. She has a medium classic flap in red caviar, and she also has a mini square in caviar. And Danny said that they're the only Chanel bags that she needs, and I actually think that collection is pretty good, because I know we get into a habit, I know I do this myself, where when you focus in on a brand, you feel like you need to buy everything, and you need to buy multiple colors and, you know, fabrics and shapes and sizes, but you don't really need to, because at the end of the day, you only wear a certain amount of bags, and you may as well just like focus in on the ones that are really going to work for you. So I do feel like it's all individual. But for me, if I had to only buy a few Chanel bags, like if I can only have 4 Chanel bags, I don't have any Chanel bags anymore, but I used to. From my experience, I would get these 4 bags. Like if I had to build a Chanel collection, these are the 4 bags I'd get. I would get the vintage mini square caviar with black and gold hardware. So there's this like style of vintage Chanel mini that is a bit more boxy and square, and it has the very gold hardware, and it's in caviar. That to me is one of the best vintage Chanel bags and the cutest ones. I just love that, and the make of that bag, it feels a lot nicer than the more modern day Chanel bags, I will say, because I did have a caviar mini and I sold it for a crazy profit. But yeah, I did find that the vintage ones do feel, it just has a more of a substance to it. So I think if I was going to build my Chanel collection again, I most certainly would look at vintage, because actually the prices of those minis are not cheap. Like they're actually very expensive, but that bag is just absolutely stunning. So that vintage mini square is just to die for. So I would get that, because I've actually always wanted that bag, but I never really, I had a patent leather version, but I would much prefer the black caviar. So I'd get that. The next bag I would get is the vertical quilt jumbo with the big CC. Again, I used to have it. Mine was in pretty worse for wear condition. It wasn't in the best condition. I'd try and find one in better condition, because I do love that iconic big CC logo. It's very 90s. It's very Chanel runway. I just love it. And the size of the single flap jumbo in the vintage version is really practical. Like you can fit a lot in there. It's not that heavy because it's a single flap, and I love the statement that the big CC logo has, and I love it in lambskin or caviar actually, because the vintage caviar in those jumbos is very durable. Actually, the lambskin would be, I actually prefer the lambskin in that style. It's really, really like buttery and nice. So yeah, that would be the top 2 I would get. The next one I would get from Chanel, I think, is a classic Chanel 2.55 reissue in black with gold hardware. In the 225 size, so like the smaller reissue, not the mini reissue. I do think like the double flap Chanel is very iconic, and the reissue is a very practical bag because it's in that crumple calfskin, so you can kind of dress it up, dress it down, and the Mademoiselle lock is a little bit more low-key compared to the CC. I just feel like this bag, you can take it from day to night. It's just a bag that will never go out of fashion, and the size 225 I think is just a perfect size for, like, you could wear it to a wedding, or you could just wear it out just to the shops or something. So I think that's just like such a classic Chanel bag. And then the final Chanel bag I would get is a timeless classic, or an 11-12 bag in the size small, caviar black with gold hardware. And yes, I would just get black, because Chanel, to me, the best color is black with gold. Like that is Chanel. So yeah, I would just get black and gold. I know that's very similar with the 2.55. You might be like, just like get some more variety in your life. But I feel like that's all you need for Chanel. Like those 4 bags is like the best you could get for Chanel, right? Like, I don't know, guys. And I feel like you might be wondering, Jess, why don't you say the medium large flap? But I think that the small size is a little bit cuter. So that's why I would say small. And there's not a huge difference in the space that you can put. Like, you can probably add like an extra like small wallet in there compared to the small with the medium. But I don't know. Then I've got the big CC Jumbo to like fit all my extra stuff. So yeah, that would be my dream Chanel collection, those 4 bags. For Louis Vuitton, now Louis Vuitton I think is definitely known for their canvas and hard-sided pieces. So a core Louis Vuitton collection for me, if you want it to be very classic, because I'm not talking about if you're like a very whimsical kind of personality, like then you wouldn't get, like you honestly, if you had like a very outlandish style, you wouldn't get those Chanel bags. You'd get like the heart-shaped bag and all the cutesy iridescent stuff, right? But I'm just talking about like the core pieces that are like encapsulate the brand basically. So for me, Louis Vuitton, it's the canvas, it's the hard-sided pieces. So a core Louis Vuitton bag I would get is the Speedy 25 in monogram. Very Audrey Hepburn, very easy, very classic, will never go out of fashion. It's one of those like easy dump bags, good for traveling. Yeah, I love the Speedy bag. I think it's such like an easy shape. That bowling bag, you know, a lot of brands do it actually, but you know, the Speedy, it's more iconic. So I think from Louis Vuitton, it's definitely like, I wouldn't say everyone suits timeless classics, but it is a key part of Louis Vuitton's history. So the Speedy. Then I would say the Neverfull MM, just because, okay guys, I know Neverfull is a bit boring, but Neverfulls are very practical. So if you need a laptop bag or if you need just a very lightweight for traveling, the Neverfull is a pretty like no-brainer bag for that. And I've never owned a Neverfull myself because I actually found it was a little bit too boring for me. So that's why I've never bought it. But I do feel like it would be a very practical bag actually for me to have, because I do sometimes find myself needing like something to carry my laptop. I usually just carry it in like a fabric bag. But like a Neverfull would be very handy, and I again would just get it in monogram canvas to match my Speedy. I'll just get full monogram just to have it all cohesive. Damier Ebene is also a very good option because that is also very classic. So you could go for the Damier Ebene as well, but yeah, classic monogram Neverfull. Then I would also get a Pochette Accessories, a very easy throw around like bag just for weekends. It's also very yeah, I feel like Louis Vuitton does this well. It's like, I know the new one comes with a chain, but I also feel like it's a very practical, easy to wipe down bag that you could even use as a pouch in your Neverfull, like an extra thing. And then I think final iconic bag I would get from Louis Vuitton is the Petit Mal. Nicolas Ghesquière, it was just like one of his first iconic bags that he bought into Louis Vuitton, and because it is like a hard-sided piece, it does tie in really well to their heritage. And I know that you could definitely invest in like a Louis Vuitton trunk and like use it as a coffee table or something, but I don't know, that's not as practical for most people. I think like this very nice evening clutch is super iconic, and it's something that is not going to go away from Louis Vuitton either, and you can kind of dress it up. So yeah, that would be my key collection for Louis Vuitton: the Speedy, Neverfull, Pochette Accessories, and the Petit Mal. And you might be thinking like, Jess, what about the Alma? I don't know, guys. I feel like, well, just wait for it, guys. I'll get to Hermes in a sec. So final core collection is Hermes, and I don't know, guys. I feel like this is really hard, and actually I don't really have a lot of these bags because, well, these exact combinations, because they're very classic, and I find that I'm not that classic in terms of the colors I choose and that sort of thing. But I would say a black Birkin 30 is very classic. Like whether it's in palladium or gold, it doesn't really matter, but a black Birkin 30 is a super, like an easy bag. Like that will never go out of fashion. So I would say like that's the first core piece. Second classic core piece would be a Kelly, because they're the most iconic from Hermes, the Birkin and the Kelly. And I would like, yeah, I know most people would go for 25 or 28, but the 32 is more of like the Grace Kelly vibe. So I would say like 32 or 28 is more classic for the Kelly, in black or gold on gold for both the Birkin and the Kelly. Actually, yeah, black or gold. They're both classic colors for Birkin or Kelly. So 28 or 32, I think, are the most classic sizes, because 25 is a bit more of a modern day size. So yeah, I do like the 25 though. I mean, it's been out for a long, long time, but I'm just thinking about like the vibe of Hermes. They like tend to be these like more practical daily bags. So I feel like the 28 and I feel like the 32 is actually a very practical size, but it's not as popular because of just people are gravitating towards like micro and small bags the past few years. So yeah, but I actually think the 32 looks very classic. So Birkin 30, Kelly 32 or 28. And then I would also say Bolide. I think, you know, the Bolide has been out since 1923, so it's actually been out before the Alma from Louis Vuitton. So I'd say in terms of dome-shaped bags, the Bolide is a core classic for Hermes. And I would suggest if you want something more usable for like this day and age, because I've suggested the Birkin 30 and the Kelly 32, I would say a Bolide 25 would be quite nice to have. Like it's a great bag for like most occasions. You can dress it up, dress it down. It's not super over the top. And I wouldn't necessarily suggest to get bright pink, but in black it would be really nice to have. I think a black Bolide 25, super classic. Yeah, that would just be the most classic bag. And then I also feel like the plume bag, I've seen it a lot on the runways recently. I think that's also a really classic bag. That one was really popular in the 1960s, and the shape is quite iconic actually. So I would also suggest a plume bag, and just to have some variety, I would even suggest like the mini plume, because this I think would be really nice for the evening or for day to day. So it's a very versatile bag, and similar to the Bolide in that it's like very low key, whereas the Birkin and the Kelly are more of those like, you know, recognizable bags. And I'm not too sure about Constance. I've never owned a Constance, but for me, I would put Bolide in there because I feel like it has... Constance is like got a lot of history as well, but I don't know, I just feel like Bolide is more practical. So yeah, they're the four I would choose for Hermes: Plume, Bolide, Birkin and Kelly, Chanel Mini Square Vintage, Chanel Vertical Quilt Jumbo, the 2.55, and the Timeless Classic, and then Louis Vuitton, the Speedy Neverfull Pochette Accessories, and the Petit Mal. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think as well. Do you have a collection of designer bags? Do you only own like 4? And what is your core collection? Let me know. Thanks for the inspiration today, guys. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!